And Florida lawmakers have overwhelmingly approved a major change to the state's public records rule, one that will hide the identities of crime victims and, in some cases, police officers. The bill is now heading to Governor Ron DeSantis' desk just 2 years after the state Supreme Court struck down parts of Marsy's law. A bill that would shield the identities of crime victims could now include police officers who say they are victims of crimes. The bill passed both the House and Senate without debate. It comes more than 2 years after the Florida Supreme Court struck down part of Marsy's law, the constitutional amendment that protects victims' identities. That ruling followed police agencies using Marsy's law to withhold the name of officers who used lethal force, claiming they were victims too. But the court left the door open for lawmakers to revise the law. And according to Representative Eskamani, the bill creates more transparency.
It does, I think, for me, most importantly, provide clarity on when an officer becomes a victim versus when an officer is a suspect.
Under the bill, if an officer says they were assaulted or threatened on the job, their name would be kept confidential for 72 hours and blocked from public records for 60 days. For crime victims, any identifying information that could be used to locate, intimidate, harass, or abuse them would be shielded indefinitely. Eskamani voted in favor of the bill.
The bill itself, in the amendatory process, tries to strike that balance to say that when an officer becomes a legitimate victim during the scope of their employment, rather than when they're involved in a use of force incident, is when this applies.
William Smith, Florida PBA, waves in support.
The Florida Police Benevolent Association threw their support behind the bill, and so did the organization Marsy's Law of Florida. In a statement to CBS 12 News, a spokesperson says in part, when reviewing the conduct of on-duty law enforcement officers involved in use of force incidents, the right to privacy of their name must quickly yield to the public's right to know. Now, if the bill becomes law, lawmakers will have to reapprove the measure again in 2031 under Florida's sunset provision, which requires any public record exemption to be reviewed after 5 years. It's unclear if Governor DeSantis will sign this into law.